I think that's the thing about CO2. You probably felt some of the symptoms of it, but you've always associated it with so many other reasons just because we didn't know about CO2. And so it's interesting that you mentioned that. Sometimes you have to also explain to people, she's probably been this high, these levels have been this high, and nobody knew because nobody ever tested.
When I explain like the testing and stuff to people, I just say for a very long time, people had symptoms and were blindfolded throwing darts at a dartboard. And once in a while, you might get something that sticks, and that's a success story, or have a lot of misses as well. Mm, Especially since like, the advent of COVID and the
Right.
increase in air monitoring and measuring technology becoming more available, we now can take that blindfold off and actually look at the board that we're throwing at. You don't notice it until you reset or until it's gone, until you roll the windows down after you sat in the car for 8 hours. And
Sure.
then you're
Yeah.
like, I was nodding off and now I'm taken
So,
back. So
back to how do we explain to a homeowner the value of the ERVs and any kind of air exchanger? The concept is can be very difficult to explain until they actually experience it. But to get them to experience it, you have to get them to give you $10,000, $5,000 to $10,000, which is why most people experience it.
air can be pretty stale if there's not those factors that influence air movement. Do you feel tired when you're at home? Do you think your child might feel tired when they're at home doing their homework? Do you think that could affect how well they're doing, how well they perform? Because I know that there are studies out there that
Mhm.
show as CO2 levels go up in schools, student performance goes down. They're inversely proportional.
For sure. So, can you see this?
Yes.
All right. So, we were talking about the effect that carbon dioxide has on people and thinking. And these are the results from a very large test that were done on thousands of school children, I believe in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the specifics of it, but this is very interesting. So what I'm showing you here is if you look on the left side, it's basically a explanation of how good something is. Superior, 95 percentile, very good. Average down to marginal and dysfunctional. So
Yep.
that's describing your brain, the different categories of how you use your brain. And again, this was fairly easy to do in an educational setting because you have all of these specific outcomes, testing, classroom behavior, and stuff like that.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
So on the bottom, you got all of these descriptions of different categories of mental activity. So basic activity, applied activity, focused activity, task orientation, initiative, information searching, information usage, breadth of approach, and basic strategies. The white buttons or white numbers or lines, you see those right there. That's
Yep.
600 ppm.
And
Even
that's
at,
going to be a pretty standard range.
and then if you look at these black buttons, 2,500 ppm, and look at some of the huge differences in some of these activities. Some of them aren't nearly as big, but basic activities, you're at marginal. Look at your initiative.
Yeah.
It now dysfunctional.
That's people that fall asleep in their home as soon as they walk through the door
Right.
and they think they're depressed because they,
Yeah, they don't feel like doing anything. Like you said, getting out of bed. This is and again, you can apply it to the to people's in their homes, or these are kids. Now they don't feel like they're they don't take initiative to take on tasks, to do work, to to complete additional stuff. But it's amazing when if you just look at these black dots
yeah.
and you look at task, and then you get into information usage, breadth of approach, and then basic strategy. So these things, like you said, initiative and basic strategies
Well,
that
cognitive function is
right.
very clear that it goes down as CO2 goes
Right.
up.
Dysfunctional is the term that they use. And again, think about how many kids are in classrooms, or especially in parts of the world where they have hydronic heating systems. They don't have ductwork, where there's no one's ever thought of introducing fresh air into it. And they think that these kids are they're just not smart kids, or they're not high achievers.
I,
It's interesting when we were just talking about CO2 to get
I,
real specific. It's shocking.
I consider CO2, like elevated CO2 levels are the equivalent of wearing an invisible weight jacket that just gradually weighs down on you and it just takes away from you and you don't notice it. Homeowners don't know that. "Man, I'm tired today. I didn't even do that much today,
Right.
but I'm beat." You know, it's just an invisible weight they're carrying on their shoulders. They don't know why until they move to a home that has better ventilation or fresh air.